Satnam. I'm Lillian Savoy, the host of Awake and Change podcast, and I'm so excited for our guest today, Dr. Sharnael. And welcome.
How you doing?
Good. Dr. Sharnael is a naturopathic doctor and teacher who hosts True TV, has authored 5 activating books. She speaks all over the world, 50 countries. She has self-paced courses online that will help you at home and find yourself and live in your truth and your highest potential. So I'm so honored that you're here today. Where do we even begin? There's so many good things to talk about.
Thank you for having me, and I'm just going to follow your lead. We could talk about all kinds of things.
All right, well, let's tap into my new favorite thing that you introduced me to. And I'm so grateful for that, but that is ozone. So I called you because I found a lump. And I was like, why do I have a lump? And I remember you coaching me through it. I said, I read about ozone. I said, I'm going to go find some ozone. And you said, well, why don't you just do ozone yourself and learn and teach yourself? And I was like, great idea, because ozone treatments can be pricey depending on where you travel to. And I remember telling you, I'm going to travel to Texas and do this $2,500 ozone treatment. And you were like, why? You can do it right at your home. It's easy. I'll teach you. And you have changed my life by doing that. I ozone every day just for 4 to 5 minutes. I'm up to 5 minutes without having a healing reaction.
Awesome.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about why ozone. Well, first you told me not to have a biopsy and just to try ozone, because I am into natural medicine and you are a naturopathic doctor, which means that you don't follow the same scope of practice as going into the doctor's office, Western medicine. So could you tell us maybe a little bit about that first, and then we'll go into ozone?
Yes. Well, naturopathic is a path of the natural. It's listening to your body and realizing and remembering that our bodies are already created to heal on their own, and don't, because of different things regarding environmental issues, emotional issues, diet, things like that. Those things can kind of interrupt the blueprint of how we create healing on our own anyway. And so if we can take away some of those things and get back to the essence of us healing naturally, then we have a better start, as opposed to just kind of going after and chasing symptoms all day long that never really get to the root issue. Similar to like if your car starts beeping because, maybe you need an oil change or something, if you bring it to some sort of mechanic that's like, you know what, we can just take this light off and make the sound not beep anymore and you'll be fine. That is not going to help the car. Eventually it will explode because the root issue isn't taken care of. And so what I find is, first of all, 86% of all physical issues are emotional related and are just accumulated over time through our limbic system that kind of shelves different traumas in the body, just waiting to be cleared. And when we don't clear them, there's different things that bump into those issues, maybe something similar, or you hear about something similar, and those areas get triggered, and then they start forming symptoms or pain or inflammation or whatever, and we can work and clear all those things. I guess we were not really told like, hey, pain or signals are meant as a message to get to the root issue, as much as we're told, hey, turn off that pain and just move on. And half the time there's not even a conversation about how the origin of it started or why, or, dealing with that. So we know that pharmaceuticals end up not working after a while anyway, because our body basically tries to, anything synthetic, it's going to try to push out and find the code of how it's created. And when we get through those loopholes, then the body has to have another thing to trick it and another thing to trick it. And let's not even talk about all the side effects of this stuff. So I was on up to 33 meds just because it started out with one thing and then another and then another. And then these meds had side effects and those meds had side effects. And, I was just, it wasn't fun and I wasn't feeling any better. And so I actually found a doctor that is an MD, but also did a lot of work in the energy realm, biohacking, um, but also looked at the root issue, which is really, really important. And what our forefathers and ancestors did before the 40s, when pharmaceuticals even came out. And the word pharmaceuticals or the word pharmaceutical comes from pharma or pharmakia, which is witchcraft. And there's this whole brainwashing thing out there where it's like, oh no, don't use anything natural, don't use herbs, don't do, I don't know, essential oils or whatever. And that's almost looked as like taboo, when in reality that is a natural way to clear things and to get better and to move through these things, so we don't have reoccurring issues and we don't have to just constantly chase whatever symptoms there are, if that makes sense. So usually I see people who have tried all the Western things and weren't getting those answers, and so they're looking for other ways to fix things. And believe it or not, more and more, especially since the last 5 years of, whatever that situation was, I'm not going to say the word. There's been a lot more people who kind of, I think they overplayed their hand in the 2020 time. And some people were just like tired of being lied to, realized what happened, realized that there was a push and propaganda for basically a lot of people to be unpopulated. And
that's a nice way of putting it, right?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of people who don't trust modern medicine anymore, which is sad because some of it is needed. And I'm not going to go see, some essential oil lady if I got in a car accident or something necessarily. If you need a surgeon, you need a surgeon. But for other things, like I just came back from being in the Amish community, and they do so much, like just naturally. And their diet is really great, and they have like hardly any autism, and they don't do any of this stuff, and they're exempt from it. And I'm like, man, if we could get back to that in some ways. But yeah, I found Ozone because I was reversing my own issues and was told about the IVs, which I did at the time, and they were a lot less expensive than they are now. Back in the day when I was getting them, they were around $200 to $300 for a whole long session, and now they run up to like $1,300 just for
I've even seen $2,500 now.
It's crazy, yeah. And we can have your own generator for that. You can have it in your house and do insufflations and, all kinds of treatments without going somewhere, without, looking into it. I think we need to be our own advocates. That's just a personal opinion. The word doctor actually means teacher. And I'm not seeing a whole lot of Western doctors in the teaching mode. I think most of them are in this, like, we got 4 minutes. Let's do this thing and let me get you out of here to get to the next person. And they're just having this rotation of, meeting the needs of finding these symptoms. And basically they're drug dealers.
Yeah, they're taught that though, right? I mean, part of what we have talked about in the past is they sign a contract, and their literature is from the pharmaceutical companies, and they are taught about medicine, not the actual giving the empowerment to the patient to empower their own healing. They're not taught like that.
Yep, they're not taught like that. And some of them are open to it, some of them not so much. I think a lot more now they are, because some of them will say it and some of them won't, but they saw what happened over the last 5 years. And a lot of them are traumatized by it. But the pharma companies back up most of the studies that you see on the internet. They literally pay doctors to use a certain drug or try a certain drug out, and they're getting bonuses for that kind of stuff. Which, wouldn't it be cool if we did like they do in a lot of the Eastern countries where people get paid if you get healed, not if you,
Yes.
you know, it's like,
That would be amazing. And, going back to what you said, as far as the root cause, are they looking at, I know naturopathic doctors, y'all are trained to go and find the root cause, right? Kind of like a scavenger hunt and going down to a deep dive. Are they being taught that the root cause is too time consuming or too emotional or too woo woo? Like why is it that the Eastern is being taught and in their schools, to go to the root cause, and the other one is not? It's just symptom based and drugs, like you said.
yeah.
Where's
So
the disconnect, and how are we ever going to get like together and integrate?
I choose to know, where did it start? It started with the pharmaceutical companies funding most of the doctorate programs for medicine.
Okay.
You know, back when they were like, "Hey, we'll give you this money to build a West Wing or whatever," then of course they're going to infiltrate their ideals of pharmaceuticals into any doctor who's in studying to be a doctor. And then of course with the drug reps that come by and have all the newest and the best, new drugs that they're forking out, when they get paid bonuses for each and every person that they work with, and also even like the CVS's and the Walgreens and whatever, they're getting paid a lump sum to do the flu shots or to do the whatever shots, but then they also get paid each individual person. I think it was $45 per person that they were getting a shot, even though they're free shots, they're giving them away. And then I think it was either 1,500 a week or 1,500 a month that the store would be given just because they were allowing the shots to be there and advertising them. So
Wow.
that helps a lot for any of the owners of these places. Everyone's getting paid. When I've talked to a lot of my pharmaceutical friends who have been in it for 20, 30 years, they were going to their yearly meetings for their CEUs or whatever, and they were shocked because they said, we have never been to a yearly meeting that didn't have 28 out of 30 hours of just how to get people to take these shots. That was the
Wow.
whole direction of what they were there for that meeting for, is to instigate all these ideas on how to make them say yes.
That is so wild, because I was just having coffee with another lady that's going to come on the podcast. I'm excited. And we were talking about like the root cause of the vaccine, and we don't have to get into that right now. But I'm just saying, like, if they spend 28 out of 30 hours at their CEUs taught basically marketing of how to advertise for people to take shots, what is literally the root cause of why they are paying bonuses to these companies? Why are they advertising for people to come get their shots? Like, what is the behind the scenes agenda for that? If they know that the flu shot does not prevent you from getting the flu, if they know that now, what is the big behind the scene agenda?
Well, they get money per shot. Money has a
But
lot.
like, what is the pharma's behind the scene? What makes a difference if 20,000 people get the flu shot or 1 million people get the flu shot?
If you get
Uh,
$45 per person and 1 million people get it, that's a lot of money.
and that just goes direct to pharma.
Oh yeah, they get so much money and they can't be sued for anything.
They can't be sued for anything
No
because
liability whatsoever.
they're protected by the corporation itself.
Yeah, and if people get more sick and or die, then they're getting more money from the sickness, because then they're doing all these other extra things for everyone who's sick about it. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And if there's a less population because of it, then oh well, they don't care.
So spiritually, okay, do you think we're working with the darkness, spiritually? Are we working with another realm of dark energy that's now embodied in our physical realm here on Earth? Is it light workers doing the work of exposing the darkness, or is it all the light workers coming together and healing the darkness? Or like, and if you don't feel comfortable answering that, just tell me. But I'm just curious, like on the spiritual version, because I know you work with all emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there is, the question itself shows a lot of duality. And I work really hard to work in non-duality and remember that we are one. You know, the dark, if you want to call it that, I feel like has overplayed their hand because there's just been so much chaos and trauma actually instigate awakening. And you know, where there is suffering, there is awakening. And so there's use to it. And, you know, is it fun and easy? Maybe not. And also, it's just where we are as everything evolves. People show their true colors. People respond and or react, just like pharmaceuticals, you know, respond positive, react not so great. And so we all have a karmic opportunity each and every day to respond or react and to be love and to be truth and to embody those things and or not. And so as we continue to evolve and shine and radiate and be and make choices that apply the morals that anyone would be seeking, there are other people who don't choose. And there isn't anything that we can necessarily do to force that, you know, besides stand up for what's right, speak when we're given an option to speak. I know for me, there was a lot of censorship because we had brought in Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Malone and Peter McCullen into the city to support a lot of the kids that were going to college, that I was like, they were literally busing these kids from the dentist school to go get what they perceived as forced vax to stay at school. They were told you can't finish school unless you get on the bus.
Wow.
And I was like, that's just not cool because it's not legal and it wasn't even true. You know, they did the same thing to military. They were making everybody feel like they couldn't stay if they didn't do it. Now, what's happened to our military? We've lost a ton of American patriots. So, but with the censorship, I mean, they took down, I don't know how many times I was in Facebook jail. They took down my entire channel for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 videos that were on there compared to my 20 years of work going way back to nothing to do with this situation. And I still haven't got my channel back, but.
Really?
No.
So how do you get your word out about alternative, you know, besides this with podcasting, which is not, you know, censored, and hopefully it stays that way, and X, right? X is not censored. It's the freedom of speech. But how do you get the truth out that you've learned from global education? How do you get it out without it being censored? Because I just looked up ozone just for fun the other day, and you know what Google would tell me. And it was like, this is a source of quackery. And do not attempt this at home. You might experience death and this and that. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, who wrote this, first of all? And that is the first thing that comes up when you search ozone, is that it's quackery.
Interesting.
So what, you know, how are you getting the word out? How are you getting the truth out besides working with your groups that you do and, you know, the big names that you just mentioned? You know, how are you getting it out there? How are you teaching people? How are you being the doctor that has, you know, morals about serving others?
Yeah, I'm just using the platforms that allow me to and keep on writing and getting in Facebook jail and doing whatever, you know. I mean, I just started a new channel and I'm going after it again, and we'll do our best. And again, using the platforms that we can and starting over.
So what do you think they're putting you in jail for? Talking about how that you can actually heal your body using ozone and essential oils and getting to the root cause? Or what do you think is They don't want you to tell people that they can heal themselves?
The last one that they put me in jail for was just literally telling people to go outside and get sunshine and vitamin D.
Wow.
So I think they're just not really picky about it. I think anything they don't want you to say, they'll stop. They'll do what they can to stop you.
Okay, so what do you recommend? Tell us your favorite protocol. Like I'm coming to you and let's say I have rheumatoid arthritis, but I don't. But I have a, family member that I love, and it's actually a testament to what you were saying. In her 20s, she was in pain. And so what did they do? They gave her a pill to block the pain. And now in her 40s, she had to detox and get off that pill because it goes up into the blood-brain barrier. And she's had all kind of physical stuff come up from hiding that pain for 20 something years. What would you tell her as your protocol if she was like, I really need to feel better and I cannot take another pharmaceutical?
I usually get biofeedback. I don't know you do biofeedback, but I usually get some diagnostics to see if there's other things that could be working with that situation. And once we get diagnostics, customized frequencies to be sent back, then I go over the reports with the individual to see, as a naturopath, what I can maybe tell her or him to work into their practice daily. Whether maybe they need to do a parasite cleanse or a liver cleanse, or get more sunshine or sleep better, or maybe they need to do some kind of hormone balancing, or maybe they're around EMFs and need some support with EMFs, or they need to be grounded, or maybe they have a histamine response to certain foods that they shouldn't be dealing with, or whatever. But if it's easier for me to have a starting point by looking at what diagnostics are saying and not just what some person comes in and says, this is what's going on. It's like, well, why is that going on? Let's find out what the undercurrent of that is so we can really work from the bottom up instead of just continuing to talk about inflammation and how to deal with that. It's like, what's causing the inflammation?
What's causing, and whether it's spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, or all of the above?
Pretty much.
And do you work globally with people? Like, can they contact you one-on-one? Do you prefer, groups? I see we're going to talk about, like, you have 3 retreats coming up. You have one in just a few weeks in Destin, October 23rd. You have 1 spot left. So that would be cool because that's pretty close to us, right?
Yes, we have Laura Eisenhower, who is the great granddaughter of our former president, Ike Eisenhower. Her and I will be speaking in the evenings just about consciousness, about ascending, about increasing frequency, about synchronicities, a lot of different things we're going to talk about. And then during the day, that is a time off. We tend to attract a lot of people who are in kind of a healing type ministry or service ministry, hands-on naturopathic type people, energy people, light workers, whatever, who have really given and given and given, and not necessarily take a few minutes to pour back into themselves. It didn't start out that way, but that's kind of how it's turned out, as we just tend to attract all these different people from all over the world that are like doing kind of what we are, that really just want a few days to recharge. And so the days are for that recharging. We're in the frequency of the Emerald Coast, which is amazing.
Magical.
Definitely all kinds of theta action going, just being on the side of the beach. And getting your nervous system, square. We also have modalities that we're offering during the day, like raindrop therapy, emotional release, QHHT. We have biofeedback, ozone, PEMF. It's just several different things that people can participate in if they choose during the day. And then at night, we're all together meeting and doing some workshops. There's an art workshop that we have and just other things. So that'll be fun. If anyone's interested, just reach out. We do have one more spot left. And then we have an Egypt tour and a dolphin tour for
Can't
2020.
wait to hear about that. How's the Egypt tour?
Yeah, it's going to be 10 days. And
Okay.
yeah, it's going to be a spiritual quest as much as it is a historic, and, connecting to the grid and the earth and the pyramids and, that. And then the dolphin trip as well. There's a lot of frequency in dolphins. Their aura is unmeasurable, and they're using a lot of dolphins to work with people who have a lot of pain and or emotional trauma with cancer. They're literally just putting people in with the dolphins, and people are getting healed. I know they're even using them
Wow.
for women who are pregnant. They're allowing them to have babies with the dolphins, and it takes away the birth pain, which is very to just
I needed that.
yeah.
I
So
needed that. I was such a wimp when it came. Oh, in my next life, I have a different birth plan. Okay. But I also read dolphins and maybe the cranial sacral world, how dolphins can actually do cranial sacral work. Have you been able to witness this or been to any of that?
I haven't heard of that, but I do know just their sonar
Oh, I can't wait to send you.
is
Okay.
something to do with that sound, that frequency that goes out.
We'll definitely have to share. I'll share that information with you because I want to see how your retreat and that kind of goes hand in hand with the dolphins. But apparently, they're doing a lot with dolphins, like you said, because they have found out how magical they are, and they are. We have a little bit of pause. Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry, you went out.
Okay, yeah, yeah. We had a little pause in our connection. Who specialize in as far as people coming to what are they seeking? Are they seeking less pain? Are they seeking a connection with a new doctor, own healing? Who are you attracting?
I usually get a lot of people who are either really, really just so sick and can't get answers, and they've tried everything, and or people, like I said earlier, who are just kind of fed up with the Western lies and the pharmaceuticals and the side effects. And most of the people that come to me are either dealing with pain, inflammation, hormone issues, lack of sleep, can't lose weight, and or just emotional trauma, in general. And so when we can get to the bottom of those things, usually the body will just work itself out. It's like looking at the sun. The sun may not always be seen because there's clouds in the way, but it doesn't make it that the sun isn't there. Our body is constantly healing all the time if we move all the things that interrupt the ability for that to heal. And so I will look to see what we need to remove or what needs to shift, what can we clear out. And sometimes we can have so much static energy, even from like death or grief or bitterness, and that could be in the field and causing problems. And then even like parasites or fungus are sending signals in the field that basically let the world know that that person is a good host. And so a physical parasite sends an energetic projection, and then people will only submit to that projection. So people who have done the group cleanses that we do tend to see a lot more shifting besides just physical issues. They can see partnership shifts, or friendship shifts, and or creativity shifts or abundance shifts. Money that was owed to them from like 40 years ago suddenly like drops because that signal was sent out that's cleared now. Everything is just pure and love and truth. And when those things are the signal, you attract those things instead of the parasite and or fungus and or whatever signal that could be disrupting in or bringing in someone who's going to take advantage. So, I don't think
I love that. When are you doing the next group cleanse?
the next one is the 6th of October, and then we have one in November as well. And we were doing a monthly. They usually take 2 to 3 months to really see the whole movement, because once we kill the adults, they're still having babies and they have eggs. And so we have to do shifts of like usually 2 to 3 rounds to really get to the essence of finding ourselves again and actually getting our true signals. And then too, when people get rid of that and they can clear that mentally, there's more clarity, there's more understanding, because again, they have their own frequency, their own energy, and that can cause a lot of confusion and different voices. And it's like, well, whose voice is that? Is that me? Is that God? Is that just the energies, and there's less separation of that and more clarity of just being able to hear what our true path is.
I love that so much. Okay, can I join the cleanse? Because I want to do the group cleanse too. That sounds amazing. I'm always cleansing, but I've never done a group cleanse that I haven't led. So it would be fun. So definitely, I would love if you would send me that and I'll send it out. But a group cleanse, parasite cleanse for 2 to 3 months sounds like my jam.
Awesome.
Yeah. And a lot of people that I know are starting to really wake up and do parasite cleanses. And also, I wanted to touch on this. I know we're getting close to time, but a lot of women my age, I'm 49 this year, and a lot of women are complaining about hormones. And I do not do any hormone replacement therapy. I never have. I never will. I just can't. It's just written in my DNA somewhere. But when you say you help people with hormones, can we start to really have a voice that women don't just need estrogen and progesterone, and that they can actually support? Because in my studies, I put myself back in school. I read that all the hormones except for estrogen, progesterone, and what's the other one that the ovaries do? Estrogen, progesterone. What?
We have testosterone too.
Testosterone. Yes. Okay. So, but we have 7 other hormones that our pituitary activates. So how, so when we think hormones, we just think, oh, we need testosterone to have a good sex drive, or we need estrogen because we're low on estrogen. I'm always high on estrogen, so I'll probably never need estrogen. But, so we're always just thinking like the reproductive stuff. But what about the other 7 hormones that the pituitary activates, and what are you doing to help those women? And can they come see you and call you so you can help them with all of the hormones, not just our libido?
Yeah, we have the whole endocrine is what I look at. Like usually someone with a thyroid issue, they go to a doctor, they're going to put them on a thyroid medicine. I'm going to look at the liver, because the liver is the base of everything. So if the liver is reset, then the adrenals can be reset. The thyroid can be like the whole endocrine system from the groundwork up is where I usually look to see what needs support. And then the other thing is cleaning supplies and things like that are hormone disruptors. It's like, what are you using to clean the house? Do you have those detergents and the pine sols and the plug-ins and the candles? Like all of those are hormone disruptors. Drinking out of plastic bottles and using plastic. Using a microwave at all is killing the food, but also sending frequency and radiation throughout the house. And so I look at the whole thing. And the pituitary is a big deal, as well as just, using a good toothpaste that isn't going to have all kinds of stuff in there that's going to block that. Fluoride in the water, there's so many different things that we look at, but diagnostics is usually the first, and we can do that long distance where if I get an evox with some sort of recording of the voice as well as a picture, and then we do an aura picture where we actually see what's going on and move those things together, and then calculate customized frequencies for that person based on what's going on diagnostically. We start sending that, and people feel it long distance. The first time I had it done, I literally was knocked out for like 15 hours. And I
So
could not
true.
stop myself. Like I was sleeping in the middle of my couch in the middle of the day at 2 o'clock and just completely wiped me out. And then the third time that I had it done, I had cleaned my entire garage. I mean, I was just had so much energy because so many things had kind of like finally cleared that I was like, I was up just working and getting things done, and everything on that procrastination list was finally like, so yeah, we think that things can't be done long distance, but they're doing stuff all the time long distance. And so anything that can counteract that is always going to be helpful.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I feel like you and I are related on some kind of soul sister level, because I just did this exact scenario that you were talking about with my child that's in college. And I ran her diagnostics and then did her energy frequencies for her digestion and her stomach and her large intestine and all of that stuff. And I checked on her. I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" Like the next day she goes, "Oh, I think I'm really sick." And I was like, "You're not sick. I just scanned you all day yesterday and optimized your frequencies." And she felt better the next day. And I asked her, I was like, about her little to-do list, because teenagers do not like your input at all, because they're adults now, right? I said, "Well, how's that to-do list coming? How'd you get, how'd you do on your grades and how'd your to-do list?" And she had gotten it all done and got an A on the test.
Nice.
I was like, okay, this is sweet, because they don't really put two and two together. So I definitely am a fan of long distance. I think people can heal long distance. Now, I haven't been able to find a shaman long distance from Mexico. So I need to go down. Can you have a retreat in Mexico next? And
That'll
maybe
be fun.
that'd be fun. And we could do some shaman healing, and you kind of look like a shaman. Maybe you were a shaman in your past life.
Who knows?
Okay, so hormones, people can call you. Group detox is what you're about to offer, 4 days from now, 3 days from now. Okay, and I'll send that out for you. And I love that. And last question, are you familiar? I'm sure you are, but I just wanted to ask the Hulda Clark Cure for All Diseases.
Yeah, I love Hilda Clark.
Yeah. And so I got a digital version of the book, and it was just mind blowing. So do you operate on some of those principles that, parasites are in us and they eat the viruses. So we have to kill the parasites to kill the virus, and then we have to balance out the body. What's your your naturopathic degree align with Hulda's? Because she's, a little bit differently trained, but that was like her life research. So bring that together for us.
I'm not familiar with her protocol or whatever as much as I am. I know that she's used like zappers and she's created her own formulated products, but I haven't ever purchased any of her products or have knowledge of any protocols beyond that. But I know in naturopathic anything, we're going to take away anything that's going to cause the body not to be able to do what it's made to do. Any interference we're going to remove, whether that's poor diet or not enough sunshine. If you're going to sit behind screens all day, you might need to take a break and or get some EMFs for your screens and, iPads, computers, television, get outside, get grounded, put your feet in the grass, get sunshine, get fresh air, stay hydrated, get good water, stay away from plastics and cleaning supplies, that kind of stuff. Even like the detergents, can get on the skin. And for those who are MTHFR, they need a little more help, and we're seeing that there's been even some talk about that here recently that's come out as far as Tylenol and MTHFR. So, I wish that everyone would get tested with that right away when they're born. I think it should be mandatory, but because those people aren't able to clear, normal things just as easy as somebody who isn't. And so they have to even be more aware of what they're exposing themselves to with like gasoline and paint cleaner and pharmaceuticals and, anything cleaning supplies, those kind of things. Anything synthetic is going to disrupt a regular person, let alone someone with MTHFR.
Well, you've met a double mutated person right here. I have two. So, and you're right. I have to really take, people can do a juice cleanse, for 3 days or 7 days, and it throws me into a healing crisis, so I have to go slow, 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 really slow. So, well, you have brought so much to the table. You have so much to offer the world. I want to please come back. I mean, we just got started. We could talk for hours, but okay. So the big points I think that people could reach out for you is group cleansing, because we all need a buddy to cleanse, and we need accountability. We really need accountability, because as good as I am of saying, let's do a parasite cleanse, when the bottles are sitting out on the counter, sometimes I'll be like, I only feel like taking 2 of those bottles and not 5. I'm like, oh, the parasite will still die. And I'm cheating my own self.
Really. And it's just the fun of doing it in a group. There's a great synergy of all, people joining forces to help each other and to make fun jokes. I have it on the Facebook private message group where everybody who's doing it can like post pictures or ask questions or, whatever.
I tortured my family so much looking at poop for like 5 years. I didn't know if my marriage was going to survive. I was like, check this out. Look at this worm. And then I remember going to the gastro doctor, and he was like, that's ridiculous. That's not a worm. I'm like, oh, that's not a worm. Sure looks like a worm to me. So that's when I knew to find other people. But okay, so how do we get involved in the group program? Do we go to your website?
Yeah, if you can, actually on Facebook, I usually post there. I don't know if it's on the website, to be honest.
Okay. What's your private Facebook group?
The Facebook group is Fix Your Shit.
Okay. Fix your shit. I love that. Okay, good. Fix your shit group parasite cleanse. All right, I like that.
So all right, if anyone tries to join, I will send you, there's one product that you have to purchase, and it's also really good to have a probiotic and enzyme. So there's 3 that are suggested, but 1 that's mandatory. And then you do have to set it up for 3 months. So if you do all of that and order, that's all you have to do to get in. And it's this particular product that we're using just because I'm testing it. And so, I'm sure there's other people who have other things. And if you want to do that on your own, you could do that on your own. But this particular group, we're using a certain product on purpose because I really want to see how it works with people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll look at your website, and what about what platforms are you on that are not being banned right now so that we can find you?
I'm on YouTube again. I'm on Rumble, I'm on BitChute, I'm on Instagram, YouTube.
As Dr. Sharnael?
Dr. Sharnael, yeah. TikTok, all of them, pretty much. So.
I found you on TikTok.
Yay, awesome.
And with your bubbler on the Ozone. I love all that.
Yay.
Okay, good. All right, so we're going to find you. Please come back. You are amazing, and you are healing the world one person at a time in groups. And I wish you the best ever. And I really am honored that you came on to share your information. And I really hope it helps hundreds and millions of people.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for what you guys are doing. Appreciate you and your work. And, we can just keep sharing and referring and talking to people, and eventually people wake up and see. And if they don't, then they don't. But
it's okay.
It's not our job to push everything, but to be available when people are ready. And I'm seeing a lot more people ready than ever before. I don't know about you.
Oh, me too. And I think that's kind of what you said. It's like when the hand is forced and shown too much, then the other hand shows up. And maybe next podcast, we could talk about the non-duality part that we touched on, because I'd love to get into that, because that's a different realm over there. So
awesome. Okay.
We are all one. We are all connected. So, okay. Well, lots of love to you, and talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.